So this is the box that we're making, and it's giving us about an extra 1.8 cubic meters of storage. In the box that we're designing, we're putting a seat on it, we're putting shoe storage inside, and we've also got log storage underneath with a couple of lights on it. I'm going to show you how we do it now. So we're going to start off by cutting and making the bottom. And something that's very useful if you're starting off as a DIYer is a large set square. They're not very expensive, but definitely worth the investment. Now I'm going to cut this with a saw. The weather's pretty rubbish outside, and I don't like using a circular saw inside because I haven't got an extraction system. But if I was going to cut outside, I could strap a straight edge to the wood and then use the circular saw. If you're going to use the circular saw though, you do really need a mask on. Right, so we've been and cut the base, and to be honest, now I've tried in position, it's a bit small. So I'm going to make it about 3 inches longer and about 30mm wider. It's always worth trying before you get too far into the project. What I don't want to do though is to cover up this socket. Okay, so this is the base, and I've nailed it and then countersunk the holes a little bit, just so we can then fill and have a nice smooth bottom. We've also built the bottom of the base and supported it with this sort of 63 by 38mm CLS timber. It's really cheap and it'll make the box really sturdy. And then we're now going to start fitting the sides. If you're going to paint the box, as in the basic one, you're probably just going to want to nail it and then fill it. But because we're going to clad this, I'm going to screw it because it'll all be hidden away. We also glued the base supports before nailing the base together. Next we glued and screwed the sides on. Okay, so we've put the two sides on now, and we've also put 2 extra supports inside the box. Here's a 27 by 34mm. So we're next going to screw the front on and then the back. And we'll screw this again. Obviously, if you're just going to paint the box, then you just nail this. So this is the basic box. We're now going to build a seat to go on the top, and on the box that we're going to make, we're going to put a hole in the front for logs and a base in the top to take shoes. We're also going to clad it. Now we're going to use this because this matches in with our kitchen. You could use any box of laminate, and you quite often see it bashed in shops. It's normally the ends, so it doesn't really matter, and you get it reduced. And you can make it match any of your furniture in your house. So we've cut the hole now for the logs. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to line this. We're going to bring the wood out by about 20mm so the cladding butts up against it. We've also cut the shelf out, which is going to go inside for the shoes, which is this. Hopefully this is going to fit. We don't damage it. Okay, well it's really close, but not quite. We're going to trim that back a bit. I'm now going to put the support strand on the inside to support this. Okay, so we're going to start building the internal box now that's going to hold the logs. It's going to stick out about 15mm to hide the edge of the cladding. I'm using the manufacturer's cut edge because it's dead square and straight. What I have done though is chamfer it a bit to help the paint adhere. This is going to be painted blue to match the kitchen units, and then the brown sort of walnut effect cladding, the edge of it will be hidden by this blue board. We found these feet on sale and reduced in a local DIY shop. I originally planned smaller feet, but we really like the shape and finish of these feet. We glued a new base in for the log box, as again this will be on show, so there's no nail holes to be filled. We now form the inside of the log box. I tried to cut these as accurately as possible because these will be on show, You could use decorator's cork to hide a misshaped cut. Again we glued the sides in. We didn't use any nails, so we got a nice clean finish. We now glued the walnut cladding on. You can use any laminate or cladding to give the effect you are looking for. You could also have paint matched to something in your home. Okay, so if you're going to be cutting these sort of decorative panels with a jigsaw, it's actually easier to cut it from the back. A, you can see your mark, and B, it makes a neater cut on the front. They fitted 2 piano hinges on the back. I've also put an extra piece of wood on here, as MDF isn't particularly good to screw into. So to hide these uncut edges from the cladding, they've also cut and painted these little profiles, which will match the kitchen and should hide that nasty edge. Right, so I've decided to fit a really thin bead. You get this about £3.50 a length. So we've just mitered it, and then we're going to put it around to tidy that edge up. And we'll paint this blue now to match with everything else. So we've made the top and it does hinge, but it's not really worked how we want it to. When we put the cushion on and the fabric, it's not really working. I think it's because the transition between the hard and the soft is too great. So we're going to redo this and make it so there's a bit of a hard edge into the soft cushion. We've also put a couple of lights in the back just to light the logs up. We're quite lucky because we've got 12-volt transformers for the kitchen, and they're now powering this. So when we turn the main lights on and off, these come on and off as well. Okay, so all we've actually done is to turn the top over, and it already looks much better. We tried a couple of different types of fabric. This plain blue seems to work the best. The only problem is I used a rough timber because originally this was going to be covered. So I'm going to have to really sand it back and put a small bevel onto that. We made the cushion from a curtain, which we found reduced. We also used a piece of 12mm MDF and a piece of 30mm foam. I didn't actually do this myself. The fabric was very carefully folded over and then stapled into place. As with everything, this has grown arms and legs. In fact, we've now decided to put a floating cushion on the wall just here. We've got some spare material and some MDF. So build it exactly the same way as this cushion. Right, so the last part of the job is to fix the floating shelf across the back. Now I'm going to use these hidden fixings. They're a little bit fiddly to get right, but they do work really well. And I put a link in the video description so you can see what they are. The other thing I'm using, which is a bit of a cheat, is a laser level. I always resisted buying one for years, but since I bought it, it's the best thing I've ever bought. You could though just mark from the center point with a spirit level straight up the wall and achieve the same thing really. We'll mount these fixings on the wall, hopefully that'll drop on, and hopefully that's it finished. So it's all finished now, and we've gained about 1.8 cubic meters of extra storage space in a space that was just redundant. It's actually comfortable to sit on, and we've got the shoes stored away inside, which is right next to the back door. I have fitted one of these locks because it's quite heavy, and we've got the logs stored underneath, which is handy because the fire is just over there. You could do whatever you want with a box like this. You You could just have an empty box, so you can put kids' toys in or any sort of storage. And you could even put a hard top on it. So you just use it as a dresser.